Gaurang Shetty to please come on the dais. I feel immense proud to be able to host our own that esteemed alumnus today as a part of this particular conclave. As you know that Mr. Gaurang Shetty has been associated with our incubation center, Riddle, and he has contributed to our incubation related activities in our college. So now currently that he is the CEO of Research Incubation Innovation Design Lab at SUV. His visionary leadership has propelled groundbreaking advancements in research and innovation. May I take a few minutes to give a brief introduction of his profile. Gaurang has been a change maker, innovator, and he was identified as the 50 most inspiring CEOs in the year 2017, Silicon India. His efforts at Riddle was recognized by the government of India, and we received a national award for emerging incubator in the year 2020. Meta Facebook has awarded him for his resilience and continued leadership at Meta Developer Circle, Mumbai in the year 2021. He drives a community over 15,000 makers and entrepreneurs in India. Also, he has co-founded a deep tech company called InnoCrit Invention in the year 2020, which has helped companies with no-code artificial intelligence tools. As far as his education is concerned, he did his diploma in industrial economics. After that, he did his Bachelor of Engineering in Electronics from KJ Somaiya College of Engineering. And then after, he did his MBA. Currently, he is pursuing his PhD. And he's also that certified in digital fabrication from Fab Foundation, MIT, USA. So with this, I request today's that esteemed alumnus to share his success story with us, especially this word circle back, this particular an English expression is very significant, because that whenever our alumnus that comes back, we have a full circle, okay, and that's a proud moment for all of us. So may I request Gaurang to please share your success story with us.
Thank you. So thank you for the opportunity. I have a bad throat, so maybe please bear with me. I just wanted to share how I started this journey and how did I land up here. So I just graduated in 2010. I was a part of a Formula student team. We used to make race cars and go to Germany. And that was very exciting for me as a student to see that some bunch of students are building this race car here in the campus. And in 2008, I actually saw this for the first time. 2008-9, I thought I should join this team because और कुछ opportunities exciting नहीं लग रहे. ये race car बहुत exciting लग रहा है, and I wanted to be a part of this team. So joined that, and that literally transformed my journey. Like it opened up an entire new world for me, because before this I loved electronics, इसलिए मैंने electronics engineering choose किया and industrial electronics diploma किया था, so थोड़ा बहुत idea था. But then when I actually became part of the team, it was so hands-on that I really understood that how things can be built within one day and implemented, and also you can see results. So when we went to Germany, we were the only Indian team. There were more than 128 teams from different countries, including like the Stuttgarts, MIT, and all the best teams from the world were there. We were the only Indian team, especially the electronics guys, who built the entire Formula One cars, Formula student cars electronics on a single board, and we simulated it. So real time आप देख सकते थे कि कार कैसे चल रहा है on a physical board. And the MD of Bosch Electronics was there, and he was very impressed. And he actually told his colleague, basically he asked us to send resumes and asked us to come for an interview in Bosch Bangalore. So it was a very game-changing experience for all of us. And when we were there, we also visited a lot of universities. So that again was a very eye-opening experience. We saw that these universities have a lot of labs built inside the institutions. There were a lot of industry guys who were walking around the campus. So we thought that why can't we also create an environment or have an environment like that here. So 2009 in the year end, we came back, brainstormed, and we thought, let us try to think of what we can do. So we started building an electric car because electric car was something very new. So we built the first electric race car here in the campus. We did a trial run, and we wanted to raise more money so that from the next year we will send the electric Formula student car to Germany. And during that discussion, we thought, why can't we create a facility wherein students can build any kind of projects, not just race cars. So then when we started this discussion, we went and met faculty around the college. So we realized that in this engineering college, in 2009-10, there were more than 300 projects which were done by students on an average. So these are like B projects, final year projects, T projects. So we just wanted to ask and inquire more कि ये projects का होता क्या है. So after the final year, students usually submit the project, and then college keeps it for some time, and then it goes to trash. So on an average, a student spends say 3,000 rupees to 4,000 rupees, and group में वो लोग 10-15,000 या 20,000 rupees खर्चा करते हैं. And इतना सारा पैसा अब multiply करोगे वो कचरे में जा रहा है. So we wanted to change that. And then we wrote a proposal, and we were very fortunate to have a management and HOIs at that time who understood like what we are speaking, and they backed us up. But initially the proposal took a lot of time to get approved. So we started working from the canteen. And Anna was very generous, so he told कि आप लोग 6-7 बजे 8 बजे तक use कर सकते हो space. So 5 to 8 we started brainstorming and started working from the canteen. It was very organic, because most of the students be there in canteen after lectures. So we also wanted to be there, and we wanted to start working. And we also thought we will get the most amount of interactions in the canteen. It will be very candid. अगर हम लोग ऐसे formal conference room में या faculty cabin में बैठ के meeting करेंगे तो शायद candid response नहीं आएगा. And we started building projects on our own. We started asking students what kind of projects you think you should build? Will people buy this product? If you're building this as a BE project, log isme paisa denge kya? So all these questions, when we started asking, we found out that students also realized that कि वो ऐसे कुछ भी नहीं बनाना चाहते. But there are some people, some students who really didn't bother. उनको खत्म करना था बस. उनको MS करने जाना था. They just had given their GRE, GMAT, and they were ready to go. But there were a handful of students who wanted to make something meaningful, and they wanted to add value. So we found out those bunch of students, and some of them were from business families. So Somaya has a Gujarati majority student, so they have that business support from their family members. So that's how we found out that there are these group of students who are really motivated to start their company. So we had the first few students who registered with us. Registered matlab they just signed a simple paper that they want to work with us, and we helped them get consultancy projects. So Chintan Chai, I remember the first student who started working with us. So we helped him get more projects from our connects, from our network, and he named his company Volik. So Volik today has more than, I think, few hundred employees, and they're operating in multiple countries. So when he started paying his own fees. So the first few projects which he got, so he was in the 3rd year, I think, engineering, and he started paying his oन fees. So that gave him more confidence कि हाँ मैं मेरा खुद का fees भर सकता हूँ. So it means I can sustain myself, and his family members also were very happy. बच्चा अच्छा कर रहा है. So they didn't push him for placements, and this was something which he proposed कि मेरे को deferred placement मिलेगा क्या. So that also happened naturally. So deferred placement as a concept was not there at that time, but then he took that risk. So after that, there were a lot of students who reached out to us, and I think in 2015 This was in 2011-12 after we actually started the operations. And I think, yeah, from 2012 to 14, in that duration, we had a lot of students who started reaching out to us. Can we also make better projects? So I personally started 3 projects. One was the pollution mapping kit, one was a musical staircase, and one was a smart chessboard. So these 3, because I play a lot of chess, so so I had seen this movie Harry Potter, and I wanted to replicate the Harry Potter wizard chess. So Harry commands the chess pieces and the coins move automatically. So हमारे campus में एक बहुत बड़ा chess board है, तो वो पूरा बड़े chess board को पहले automate करना था. So concept वैसे start हुआ था, but then उतना पैसा नहीं था और no one was willing to support at that time. So we thought, like, why can't we make a smaller version of it? So we built the first few prototypes. So we built one more project at that time, which was called the musical staircase. So basically, we installed piano steps. So if you walk on the steps, piano sounds pop up. So that motivated people to use the stairs. वैसे 10 बज जाता सुबह तो सब students lift के बाहर जमा हो जाते, and they all want to go. And usually faculty also find it very difficult to go up. So we installed these piano like stairs on the steps, and people were really motivated to walk on the stairs, and that saw a lot of traction. So Times of India covered it. We got like so many news agencies, media agencies who wrote about us, and a lot of students also got to know about us कि हाँ ये लोग कुछ कर रहे हैं. At that time we were not called Riddle, we were actually called something Somaya Research Innovation Department, SRIDC something. So we didn't exist as of now, like as of that time, and we were doing projects, but we were doing projects which were getting a lot of visibility, and a lot of birthday parties. So कुछ student के family member ने बोला कि यार ये piano steps हमारे birthday party में लेके आ जाओ. So that's how we started that journey of shipping this out and earning money. So पूरे piano project का पैसा उसी से निकला. So we started shipping it out to birthday parties, weddings, like all kinds of functions, and the students were able to generate revenue and pay for their own stipend and invest more money in buying more components for making it better. We filed few patents also, and then we realized that okay, let's create a structure for this now. हम लोग ये सब activity कर रहे हैं, commercialization हो रहा है. So we started charging rent from the students. So we used to charge like per seat per month. So say 1,000 rupees per seat per month from the students, and that was one of the revenue models for us as a team. So we were 3 of us. So 2013-14 ये किया हमने 2 साल. We built multiple projects, and 13-14 मेरा बाकी के team members, they all quit because they felt that this is going nowhere. So one became a pilot and one became a VP. He joined some other company, and then he joined Just Dial. He became the VP there, Shashi and Hiren. And then I was the only person who was there along with all these projects and had no clue what to do. Then 2014, we had this conference in Simsar. There was this guy, Mr. Apurav Sharma. He was a speaker in one of the conferences, and Dr. Adayar told me कि इससे मिल लो. And I happened to meet him, and at that time he told me about, I told him about what I'm doing. I told him कि हमारे पास ऐसे startups है, कुछ projects कर रहे हैं. We have so many projects which are going on, which was covered in Times of India, blah blah. So आप लोग ये सब कर रहे हो, तो आप लोग गवर्नमेंट फंड्स के लिए अप्लाई क्यों नहीं करते? ग्रांट्स है बहुत सारे. आप लोग देखो IITs में कैसे हुआ है. तो इमीडिएटली नेक्स्ट डे आई वेंट टू साइन IIT बॉम्बे. आई फिगर आउट कि हाँ इंक्यूबेटर जैसे कुछ होता है, and that's how the journey started. And then Apurav Sharma also, he was working in Venture Nursery. So they had, in that year only, I think, around that time, I don't remember exactly, but then they had invested 30 lakhs in Ritesh Agarwal, which was Oravel Travel. And we happened to like invite their entire team, and we got to understand like investments कैसे raise करते हैं. And then Apurav Sharma sir became a consultant with us, Riddle. So he also was guiding us for some time, for 6 months. And then he started his own venture. He started Venture Catalysis, which is one of the top VC firms in India right now. And during that duration, we also learned that we can like set up an incubator. We can formalize whatever we are doing, and there's a lot of government support for all the activities that we are doing. So 15-16 हमने पूरा time इसमें लगा दिया. We tried to formalize, create procedures, processes. So for example, we created our own NDAs. We created our own agreements. So how to make sure that the founders like for example, if there are two founders who come to us, हमको project बनाना है, अब वो founder के बीच में agreement होना चाहिए, because अगर कुछ dispute हो गया, तो फिर who will resolve the query? So all these small things we also learned, and we saw the best practices. 2014, we won the Innovation Award from MIT US. So the pollution mapping kit which we had developed with the students, so that got international recognition. So we went to the US, and in the US, in MIT also we got a lot of exposure. So we met few faculty there. So one of them is Professor Ramesh Raskar. He became our mentor, and because of him also we got to learn a lot of like different practices which are going on globally. 2015-16, we wrote a proposal to DST, and we managed to raise the first 5 crore grant. So we built 10,000 square feet of space for entrepreneurs, innovators, so in KGSC in Simsar. So that's how the entire journey skyrocketed. So then I built a team again. So the founders who were working with me, so their businesses did not work well. So we hired them. So Raj was one among them. So we had this startup wherein they were building IT services products for different companies. So he joined Riddle. And then Bhavna again, she was having her own biotech company. So she joined. So she started building the biotech incubator. So in total, we have raised over 40 crores in different grants from different government departments via CSR, and different industries have supported us. And we have invested more than, I think, 20 crores in seed funds, grants, and investments in different startups. So the journey has been quite a roller coaster for us, because it has always been learning something new. So for me as an individual, so started as a student, a project innovator, focused on building good quality projects, then focused on building products, then started like supporting entrepreneurs. So in 2015-16 again, like one of my classmates, Dharmil, was building the first interface for PharmEasy. So one of my colleagues from the startup so Raj from my team, he started building the first interface for them. Then few of the startup entrepreneurs also started interacting with him. So we also got to experience like how these founders go out, raise money, create value worth 1 billion, few billion dollars, create a team of more than a few hundred employees, and scale it up to a few thousand employees. So all this within a span of say 4 years, 5 years, and also get acquired or acquire some other company. So this entire learning was done in a very short period of time. So that is something which really motivated us. And between this journey, we realized that a lot of support is there, but awareness is lacking. So we tried to create a lot of communities, and the primary objective of these communities was to create more awareness. So Maker Mela is one of the community which we started. Then Facebook actually backed me up. So they made me the Mumbai head for the developer community. So we had more than 11,000 developers in the Mumbai ecosystem. So for example, आपने अगर business चालू किया है, so definitely WhatsApp was very popular, right? So WhatsApp का API access करना है, या WhatsApp business, या Messenger access करना है, Instagram को access करना है. So all these tools was basically given as a first offering to the early stage startups or the developers. So developers, startups could benefit from the tools offered by Meta. So there are a lot of companies like Google, Amazon, they all work with startups. But then Facebook identified me as a Mumbai head. So I had a lot of leverage there when we could take startup students to the Facebook Mumbai office. We could call the engineers here. The engineers would spend a lot of time with our startups, help them with all the problems they had. So this journey had a lot of exposure in terms of corporates, in terms of say government, in terms of universities. And after 2016, there's one thing happened, like I got shortlisted by Y Combinator for the Startup School program. So previously they ran the Startup School program offline. So when I was in the Valley, so I got to meet Sam Altman and many other like dignitaries, Jan, who's the founder of WhatsApp, and then many other founders, who were like, who had an average revenue of over 50 million. And they, like interacting with them again opened a different door. Like there are a lot of opportunities in say SaaS, say like AI, machine learning. And definitely like in the last 5 years, we have seen that. Like now everyone talks about AI, right? But then robotics, AI is something which was there. So the project which I was talking about, Square of the smart chessboard, it already had robotics, high level of robotics. It already had AI. The coins could automatically move on a voice command. So everything was done in 2013. So yeah, I realized that टेक्नोलॉजी तो है बट उसको अभी कैसे बेचना है, मोनेटाइज कैसे करना है, वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. सो दिस इज समथिंग विच वी लर्नड फ्रॉम लाइक अदर एक्सेलरेटर्स ग्लोबली and try to bring that back in our incubator. So that was one journey where in 2016 से लेके 2020 तक we tried to build a capacity. So we built labs, we built programs, we started working with corporates, and we had a lot of startups who were raising money also. So Indra Water's founder was going to come today, Krunal. So they started. They studied in the US, so they finished their education here. They did his mechanical engineering from KJC. Then he went to the US, did his masters there. Then he came back here. उसने phone किया मुझे, and he asked me कि गौरंग, I'm building this product. I'm replacing the conventional sewage treatment plant. जो STP होता है ना, building में आपके देखा होगा आपने. तो typically क्या करते हैं, वो खड्डा होता है, they make a big hole and they like make sure that they add some bacteria to treat water. And उससे बहुत smell आता है, फिर मच्छर का problem होता है. A lot of hassle and a lot of footprint is wasted. So they replace that. You just install a fridge-like device, and it can treat the same like capacity of water like within few seconds, few minutes. So and it is a scalable model. So if you want to treat multiple, say for example, आपको 50,000 liters of water treat करना है, तो आप और एक unit add कर दो. So that was the concept. So वो जब idea लेके आया, so our job as an incubator was to first understand if they are capable enough to do it. Even if they are not capable enough, do they have the motivation to build that? And they needed space. So we had a badminton court. So there is a place called Vinay Mandir, and there was a badminton court which was not very well utilized because there were other badminton courts in our campus. So we asked him to build this prototype there. And there is a management hostel here. So if you walk in the campus, you will see the hostel building. So there we have a STP. सबने बोला आप इधर prototype बना लो, फिर वहाँ पे test कर लो. So the pilot testing was done in the campus, and within first 6 months they were able to like make a fully functional prototype. And I think after that he raised the Buy-Rec seed fund. So he got 25 lakhs from Riddle through the Buy-Rec seed fund. Then he managed to raise similar money from IIT Bombay from some other grant. And then he managed to raise investments also. So within that first year only, like he was able to show that his prototype is ready, his prototype is deployed and it's working. And he also got a customer. So Godavari Biorefineries bought one of his product. And because of all these things, he managed to like rope in multiple customers. So today Tata, many Adani and I'm sure many companies are using his product. And he raised $4 million. So around 32 crores to 38 crores something he raised recently, and Riddle got a partial exit from their company. So that is one of the success stories which like happened for us as an incubator. So most of the incubators in the country, so incubator is a concept, is a loss making business. जैसे आप बोलोगे कि मुझे इतने सारे स्टार्टअप्स को सपोर्ट करना है, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर देना है फ्री में या बहुत नॉमिनल चार्ज करना है, तो कैसे चलाओगे? So either you apply for government grants or you manage to raise CSR to sustain yourself, right? So the only way to show that your incubator is successful, now you have to show exits. So if you ask me 10-15 years back, अगर आपको बताना है कि आपका incubator successful है, तो आप बताओगे कि हमारे पास इतने सारे startups हैं. फिर गवर्नमेंट का पैरामीटर्स भी धीरे धीरे चेंज होते गया बिकॉज एवरीथिंग इज इवॉल्विंग. सो आफ्टर दैट द पैरामीटर्स बिकेम, हाँ अभी आपके कितने सारे स्टार्टअप्स प्रॉफिटेबल है, फिर अभी के कितने सारे स्टार्टअप्स ने फंडिंग रेस किया, सीरीज ए रेस किया, अभी कितने सारे स्टार्टअप्स ने एग्जिट दिया है. सो गवर्नमेंट के क्राइटेरियाज भी चेंज हो रहे हैं और हमारा भी उसके साथ लाइक क्राइटेरियाज और पर्सपेक्टिव चेंज हो रहा है. सो व्हाट वी ऑल्सो लर्न दैट लाइक वर्किंग विद दिस एंटरप्रेन्योर्स इज गुड. हम लोग ने उनको सपोर्ट किया, हमने उनको पैसे दिए, उन्होंने बाहर से फंडिंग रेस किया, हो गया. बट जब तक हम लोग एग्जिट नहीं लेते ना, तब तक वो जो भी हमने मेहनत किया, फॉर एग्जांपल वी यूजुअली टेक स्वेट इक्विटी इन द कंपनी, सो वी टेक सम नंबर ऑफ शेयर्स इन द कंपनी. अगर हमने वो कंपनी में एग्जिट नहीं किया ना, तो वो वैल्यू क्रिएट नहीं होगा. फॉर एग्जाम्पल लाइक गूगल स्टार्टेड आउट ऑफ स्टैनफोर्ड, राइट? आर यू अवेयर अबाउट दिस, राइट? गूगल ने स्टैनफोर्ड से शुरू किया. सो for example, if say Stanford had some number of shares in Google at that time when they started, so what would Stanford have now? Yeah, but still Google have, like the founders have donated a lot of money, and I'm sure they had a lot of programs in collaboration with them. So there is a lot of value at anyways, but if you have shares in the startup, so that can create a lot of value, and that can also help a lot of other entrepreneurs to create more value. So that is something which we are looking forward to. And our future plan is to create a research park in Maharashtra. So that is something which is lacking right now. So there are not many research parks. Like say there is one in IIT Madras. There is a research park concept in like T-Hub is existing. But a media lab and a research park kind of a concept does not exist as of today. So we wanted to do that, and we wanted to be one of the first few people who do that in Maharashtra. And since Somaya already has a very wonderful ecosystem of having so many students, having so many faculty, a lot of industries are already working with us. So this, and the location also is geographically the best. Like we are located in the heart of Mumbai. So we believe that a research park like that can add a lot of value to the entire ecosystem that we have, especially a research park which is focused on finance, which is focused on media entertainment, which is focused on, say, healthcare, machine learning, so food. So all these things can add a lot of value to the entire ecosystem. So that is our next plan. And as an individual also for me, when I see my journey, say, when we started, what we were, and what kind of knowledge we had and what we are doing right now, it's way different. I would have never imagined in my entire career कि मैं ऐसा कुछ करूँगा. So in our class there were around 120 students engineering में. उसमें से more than 80 students are in the US. And जो बच्चे कुछ हम लोग यहाँ पे थे इंडिया में. And हमारा भी प्लान यही था कि US जाना है या तो यूरोप जाना है, मास्टर्स करना है. Because ऑटोमोबाइल इंजीनियरिंग करना है तो आपको यूरोप जाना है, जर्मनी जाना है, या तो कंप्यूटर साइंस है जो दूसरे प्रोग्राम्स करने तो आपको यूएस जाना है. यही सबका डिस्कशन होता था और सब लोग ने जीआरई जीमैट दे दिया था. बट देन like these small things, being a part of like ORAN Racing India or being a part of the community, say जो भी डांस ग्रुप था या म्यूजिकल टीम था, तो वो इंटरेक्शन से जो बात ही होती थी, तो उससे मुझे पता चला था कि ORAN रेसिंग एग्जिस्ट करता है. अगर मैं वो म्यूजिकल टीम में जाता ही नहीं तो मुझे पता ही नहीं चलता ORAN रेसिंग एग्जिस्ट करता है. सो ज़रूरी नहीं है कि सिर्फ टेक्निकल ग्रुप्स में जाना है. Be a part of any community, be a part of any groups. This is something which I learned early on, and that's how I started the community Maker Mela, and that's how I got into Facebook, and that's how got into Y Combinator, and that's how got into Media Lab, MIT. So all these exposures were from some of the other communities. So being in college is something like very exciting. But being in college helps you to be a part of a lot of communities and gives you a lot of free time. So हम लोग students को यही बोलते हैं, आप college में हो ना, startup चालू कर दो. Even if you fail, you can go back and study. तो कोई problem नहीं है, आपको कोई pressure नहीं है, तो you can start and you can start building projects as soon as possible. So we did that, and now we have more than 238 companies, I think around that, and what we want to do is we want to make sure that we create a platform like Center for Excellence or Research Park, वो सब तो हम लोग बनाएंगे ही. But then we want to create a platform wherein it has to be like say for example अगर आपको कोई नया प्रोडक्ट बनाना है, so आजकल सब लोग बोलते हैं open innovation, but open innovation कैसे होगा? Like can anyone share what is open innovation, or anyone has heard about it? Okay, so social innovation, yeah, but social innovation is a sector, right? It's a very niche, maybe niche area that is specified on specific problems. Open innovation, matlab open, any kind of innovation can come. Interdisciplinary, it can include social innovation, it can include for-profit companies, any kind of companies. So we started this concept called Open DIY Biolab. So for example, if you want to get access to a nanotech center, or say a specialized level to biolab, how will you do today in today's date? You'll write a mail to the faculty who is running the lab. So for example, आपको IIT बॉम्बे या IISc बैंगलोर या सोमाया में कोई लैब में एक्सेस करना है, तो आप क्या करोगे? टिपिकली कैसे करोगे? एक मेल करोगे फैकल्टी को, बट द फैकल्टी इज नॉट अवेलेबल, तो आप नहीं कर पाओगे एक्सेस, या फैकल्टी का लैब ऑलरेडी बिजी रहेगा, लेक्चर्स चालू रहेंगे तो नहीं करेगा एक्सेस. सो मोस्ट ऑफ द इनोवेटर्स फ्रॉम Tier 2 Tier 3 cities If they want to get access to a lab which you have, how will they do? So it is very difficult, right, for any individual. So we run this community called Darwin. We run this community called Makervilla, wherein we try to reach out to as many innovators as possible. And we try to give them access to labs that we have and our partner institutions. For example, SciNIT is our partner. We'll send these innovators to SciNIT or say NSRCL or any other incubator accelerator in our network. And we will help them with basically to build their prototypes at no cost or help them apply for grants. So that is something which we are trying to build. And also we want them to get access to these labs at any point of time. So for example, if you want to get access to Riddle, so you can book our machines online. You can go to riddle.org, choose the machine which you want, sub online here. You can simply log in via your Gmail, choose the machine which you want. For example, if you want to book a laser cutting machine, you can select the laser cutting machine. You can select the duration which you want. Our admin guy will approve it and then you can come and use it. So 10 minute के लिए use करना तो 10 minute के लिए बाकी use कर सकते हो. So it should be as easy as possible. So we are trying to build that system. Imagine if all the incubators or all the Atal tinkering labs across the country open their labs for access for any innovator. Obviously आपको KYC या check कुछ तो लेना पड़ेगा sign up के time पे, but access open कर देंगे तो कितना easy होगा. So that is something which we are trying to do now. We are trying to build open biolabs, open fab labs, so that people can access these labs and start prototyping and building solutions quickly. So yeah, I hope if any one of you wants to collaborate with us and like work with us, we are open here and we are there at Riddle, so you can come and meet us. And yeah, thank you for listening to me with a bad voice. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Financial planning. Yeah. Sir, for startups. So for our incubator. Sir, so we had a mixed model approach. So the first way of generating revenue was specifically by collecting rental from innovators, but we understood that that is not going to sustain us. The second model was to approach corporates to sponsor research and sponsor our events, activities, and our most of the cost was borne by that. But we realized that is also not sustainable. And the third thing was apply for government grants. So government grants were very good. It was helping us cover all our cost, but again it was not a sustainable thing because government grants are only for a specified duration. समझो 3 साल के लिए देंगे या 5 साल के लिए देंगे, and they expect you to be sustainable after that. The next was to build programs. So that is something which we built. So for example, we ran the startup school program. So the startup school program became into a design school. So now we have a different institution in Somaya University, which is a Somaya School of Design. And that is like a sustaining organization which we can call, which popped out of our incubator. So I think it's one of the first design schools in India which popped out of an incubator, startup incubator. So we realized that programs can create a lot of value. So for example, right now we ran a climate change program with OmniActive. So OmniActive funded the program. So that all these programs cover a lot of overheads, cost of our manpower, our team. So that is something which helps us sustain. And exits, for example, हमने जो इंदिरा वाटर जैसे कंपनीज हैं जिसको हम सपोर्ट करते हैं, अगर हम उन कंपनीज में एग्जिट लेते हैं तो हमको पैसा मिलता है. So that all these add up and then sustain the incubator. But again, incubator is a loss-making business. Yeah, the only way you can run it successfully is like by getting more exits and by running more programs wherein you can sustain for a longer duration. Yeah. So you can get like a lot of value on exit. Yeah, so ma'am was mentioning कि Somaya management ने support किया. So Somaya management होता ही नहीं तो हम exist ही नहीं करते. So that is by default. So Somaya like trust or Somaya management also backs us every year with a corpus of funding. So typically what happens is like the services that we do, the value add that we provide, for example, entrepreneurship or startups or say incubation. So all these create value for the university at large. Now because government recognizes institutions and they want to see कि entrepreneurship हो रहा है कि नहीं, jobs create हो रहे हैं कि नहीं, because there are a lot of job takers and few job creators. So we believe that all these services that we do have some value. So for that value, there is some remuneration that we expect and that Somaya Trust supports us. So it's like we have like a mixed number of revenue streams that we have generated. Yes. Yes, it is supported by BIRAC and Somaya Trust.
Does anybody have any? Yeah, please.
Yes, so we have currently 27 companies who are sitting. These are biotech companies who are operating from the biolab. So you must have heard about the company Rubicon. So the founder of Rubicon, Ms. Maharuk, also has started a company. She's at Bioriddle. Yeah, so we charge rental from them, which is a nominal rent. And we also, so we have different models. So for startups, we have a rental model or a equity model. So we charge a nominal equity, say up to 3%. Depending on the stage of the company, it can be 1%, 0.5%, 3%. And that equity against that equity, we provide a number of services. For example, we help them write proposals. For example, if they want to apply for a big grant, so we help them write the proposal, we help them meet investors, we help them meet early customers, get feedback from customers. So customer discovery program. So we run a lot of programs for startups so that they can go from 0 to 1. No, so it's a case-to-case and subscription mix. So for startups, because startups join anytime. So for example, मेरा program अभी April में है, but startups ने January में join किया है. So I can't keep him waiting, right? So we start the mentoring, start the connects that time, but in April he can join the program and he can also learn it in a structured way. Thank you.
Okay, does anybody have any question for him? Okay.
So I'll have to check the total data. Yeah, maybe last year around 50-60 lakhs. Yeah. Yes. We need more help. Pardon? Both.
Okay, thank you very much, Gaurang, for success is not defined by only achievements, but know that by the kind of movements that you faced in your life, maybe through your resilience, passion, or unwavering determination that propel that you to the pinnacle of success. May I request Mr. Narayan Ramaswamy, sir, to please come on the stage to felicitate our today's speaker. Thank you, sir. After this event, we are going to have a fascinating session which will be engaged by Mr. A Rajarajan, Director, Satish Dhawan Space Center and member of In Space Board. So may I request Mr. A Rajarajan, sir, to please come on the dais. We, all of us, that have heard Gaganyaan 3 and that some of the successful missions carried by ISRO and ISRO allied research centers. And I think I feel really proud to be able to host sir on this particular occasion. Let me just allow me to give a brief introduction of his profile to you. Mr. A Rajarajan is a distinguished scientist and currently director of Satish Dhawan Space Center, Sahar, SDC Sahar, Sri Harikota, known as Spaceport of India, and he is a member of INSPAC Board and Space Council. He is an expert in the area of composites. His sustained contribution and technology leadership at ISRO has been transformative for making our nation self-reliant in the field of space technology. He has developed launch complex infrastructures to meet the increased demand of launches from various entities and for ISRO's prestigious missions like Human Space Program, Gaganyaan, and Small Satellite Launch Vehicle. He has equipped the center to concurrently meet the launch base infrastructure of ISRO and commercial space industry in the line with new space policy through comprehensive research planning. Exclusive launch complex for small satellite launch vehicle is being configured and realized under his leadership. As a director, SDSC SAR, he is leading multidisciplinary technical teams in the solid motor production and launch complex infrastructure to meet ISRO's increased demand of launches and successfully executed several key flights including Chandrayaan-3, Human Space Program, Gaganyaan, Experiment, TBD-01, Aditya L1, Small Satellite Launch Vehicle, SSLV, LV-M3, M2, OneWeb India 1, the first dedicated commercial mission, and Vikram S, the first privately built rocket of the country. He is in the forefront in enabling strategic technology development of solid propellant motors, such as installation of 4.5T and 10T solid propellant mixtures through a group of industries. He scripted history by launching the first ever private rocket of the country, Vikram S, which has opened a new arena for the space programs in India. He used COVID-19 induced disruption as an opportunity to optimize resources and introduce several innovative technologies. He was at the helm when 4 different types of launch vehicles were successfully launched within 4-month periods in early 2023, creating a record of sort. And finally, his crowning glory is the Chandrayaan-3 program, where he coordinated and facilitated tests of the lander systems and the entire launch campaign at Sahar, besides playing a key role as a chairman launch authorization board during that particular mission. During his career spanning nearly 4 decades, he has held several positions of leadership at Vikram Sarabhai Space Center, where he held senior positions as deputy director of 3 major entities. During this period, he specialized in design and development of launch vehicles and spacecraft composites systems, including the carbon composites, and paved way for building a technology center of excellence in the composite area. He has synergized all activities towards the design key propulsion systems of SSLV and in the formation of dedicated entity for space ordnance in VSSC. He has played pivotal role in outsourcing of composites for spacecrafts and launch vehicles to industries and development of various related activities. He also played a crucial role in indigenization of critical space systems and was instrumental in enthusing industries and fostering collaborations, enlisting them as partners with ISRO in the advancement of key capabilities for composites and solid motor production. He was instrumental in outsourcing of solid rocket motor production, utilizing the available propellant manufacturing facilities available with industry. Presently, he is president of ISMAP, ISAMPE India. From November 2023 onwards, he has several international journal and conference papers and was awarded with patent in the area of film boiling CBI technology development. He has been awarded with honorary doctorate by Satyabhama University, Chennai, for his excellent contribution for space applications. In recognition of his meritorious contribution for space research, he has been felicitated with several awards and honors, including ISRO Merit Award and Team Excellence Awards. So with this illustrious profile, we understand the significance of this particular speaker and his contribution to the field of space technology. May I request Mr. S. Rajarajan ji to please address the audience.
Too much. You took it from site?
Yes, sir.
Took it from site?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Too much of self-pricing. Anyway, I written down notes, and Bharat, first of all, I have to thank Bharat Tech Foundation and Somaya University for giving me this opportunity to be there in today evening and address. I have been allotted a 15 minutes time, and I know that I am standing between a cultural program and my talk. So, the topic was given is it should be apt to the enclave that we are having today, that is the technology trio. So, how do you position between the agency, in the industry and academia? Before putting from space, if I go a little overboard and take around 5 minutes, just bear with me. Because space is a subject, and we are talking about one of the 5 elements, and it is infinital. Where are we? So I will start. So I am reaching 60, so I can afford to be a little philosophical, I hope. So, who are we and where are we is a very big question mark, right? We have our names, and we have been given birth. We know our father and mother. We may know our grandmother, grandparents. Somebody who takes age may know their children, their grandchildren. Some fortunate may require grandchildren, or somebody would have seen grandfather also, or grandparents. Beyond that, there's nothing relative. And the gene that we carry is sustainable for 7 generations, in a millennium of a very minuscule period. This is philosophy and all those things. But who are we? Where are we? We are on earth at Mumbai, the capital, the economic capital of the, you can say India, now it's also can say world, all what. It has a very good synergy. One of the best ecosystems which provides for anybody who comes here. So, okay. Much bigger this earth. And when Voyager took a photograph after crossing Saturn and orbit and this one, and it's just before this, tried to look back at Earth, where it started its journey. He's trying, we found it very difficult to locate the Earth, right? Just within the planetary system itself, Earth is not seen. It's a speck. And in the universe, once the planetary system, the galaxy, we are nothing, not even a speck of a dust. Maybe an atom or a part of an electron, whatever you're talking. And in the universe, and we take pride, we do a lot of debate, and we are today here discussing in that place. So, we don't know the origin, and we don't know the future definitely. And in this, between origin and future, where are we? That also we don't know. Brahma's, this one is 8.4 billion years. So in that 8.4 billion days of one day and one night of his life, where are we? What is this yuga or whatever it is called? How much we have learned collectively, how much we have not learned. So definitely, if you look in that perspective, each one of you should know about space, right? I don't think so, you cannot go without that. Space is an all-encompassing subject. The space is well within us and outside us also. So it has a lot of things. And as a human race, we are very greedy, right? No doubt about that, please. No other animals wants to wear a dress or wants to wear extra food, wants to store food, keep an house, nothing is required. But we are the only living things. We consume anything and we don't know how much to consume. Even though we have the sixth sense, we have the sixth knowledge, we have the ability to relate and look at it, and we are worried about our future, many things. So in this aspect, why space, as we develop in the name of development, or we try to be cooperative with many countries. The nation theory itself is a very brand new theory in the millennium. In the history of human race, nation theory itself is a new thing. If you look at it, how far it will sustain itself, we don't know. How can you protect yourself, we don't know. And we have sub-races and all those things we have to take care. So there is an imperative that before you lose the resources of Earth, which is limited, how do you say we start exploring space? How do we live how to reach our sister planets, both Venus and Mars, and how life is possible to sustain? So we start studying our closest celestial body, the moon. We try to see how the moon behaves. It's almost a dead celestial body. There's nothing there. But any minerals, we try. Or it can be another launching station, because the gravity is less. From there we can go to Mars very easily. We don't have to spend fuel. So in between those two things, we can close to the Earth. We can have a space station. I can have nowadays you have seen our station, ISS station, is already worked for 20, 30 years. So those who are afford can have an 100 meter by 100 meter balloon habitable seat, which will produce oxygen, remove the carbon dioxide, life support system. You are taken for granted that oxygen is always available in Earth. You can breathe in and breathe out. You can take anything food, and India is one of the best places to live. You don't require any protection. You don't require even clothing to survive. This is a fundamental fact. So first it is, so there is an immediate urge and immediate possible that space has to be explored, and we cannot be second to none in making use of its capability to sustain life in Earth and to improve our life, and as well as make sure that we can survive when anything, because before the Earth becomes really polluting to live. We are all taking for granted. We are 80 billion people in Earth. We have oxygen. Just to do a mathematics, the amount of oxygen that is available in the surface of the Earth, how many billions of human race can be possible to live using this oxygen? You cannot hold it that. I'm just giving that mathematics. Somebody gave me a calculation, yes, mathematical result with me, who states, sir, once it crosses 13 billion, the human population on Earth, it is catastrophic. Even nothing will be available. You cannot sustain. So we are reaching towards that. So you have to start looking for other things. So with that, I will start. Now come to the subject. What we have to do in this enclave. So first of all, I thank the dignitaries and the management of Somya University and the Bharat Tech Foundation and all the representatives of the R&D agencies, industries and academia, and ladies and gentlemen, to allow me to speak for some time. And when I was contacted and I was readily agreed how to go about this trio. Always this is an interdependent. I have a 2 or 3 hour lecture on this of trio since 15 minutes. So I was wondering how to do. So I wrote down all the points. So don't want to make a mistake on any of this item. It's a very intricate and emotional subject for all the agencies. One is on the government setup, where we represent government as ISRO, as Department of Space, and the industry and academia like you here. How do we give the space? Nobody would like to give the space. Nobody wants to interfere, but how we have to collaborate. Right? That's what is happens. So we have to do this. But it has to be done. There's no other go. So what we have the use of space is for the multitude of applications. It's the name of the modern era. So I will, because in 1960 when USA sent a spacecraft to study the weather, whether it is really worth to put a spacecraft in space, our Vikrant Sarabhai long back questioned DTH. How many players knows DTH was found by his, when in course power Vikrant Sarabhai put, we can have a satellite communication and we can reach the far and field by television. And we had the farmers, whatever you call that, often our program in your young days, you got bored with that program, but it's one of the best program to disseminate information regarding farming and other things. And it was done with DTH, with one antenna sheet in your house, which you are now having. You used that, it is a foreign technology. It's not so. This technology was developed in 60s, conceived and proven to the world that such a concept is possible, that we can broadcast and communication. So with that, we are the first nation to look space, to use it for sustainable operation. When space war is going on from different countries to countries, we slowly, very calmly went into the how to do the applications for space. When everybody's space agency was structured to show the might and do, we structured it to do a sustainable development. And that's what is resource tools, and that's what we call as Purgal engineering, whatever you name it. So the very basis of the Indian space program has been to use for the benefit of the common man. And when such object is available, it augurs well with the intention of making use of the space for sustainability. Right? Now the new word is the norm word is the sustainability. How do you sustain? So how do you now make use of space to sustain? And how well it is? So I am coming to that. So in this aspect, what I call always is this: ISRO is nothing but, whatever you do in our ISRO is nothing but a scientific pursuit to generate new applications on space-based platforms with a lot of common sense and a little bit of engineering. That's all. If you apply the common sense itself, we can make out many, many things. And many business sense has come with a lot of such kind of logics. So for this, in ISRO, we have 5 verticals. One is for space transportation, which is having the launch vehicles. The space infrastructure is the one which is having the satellite in space to look for the communication, imaging, strategic application, communication, processing, all your Earth in different fields, ocean, below the ground, even 50 meters below the ground also we can see. Then the capacity building, that is the ground infrastructure and development, all those aspects. Then the human space flight. Once you do this space and try to monitor the Earth, now we have to explore space. For that, we have to send the human in space, understand how to we have to learn how to support a life system in space when nothing is available. That's called a environmental control and life support system, how to put it in place. Once you master that, we can send people in different areas. Then we can start studying. Already you would have seen USA and others have started looking at how to live in Mars now itself. 9 months they are going through all those things. It is, people have volunteered to live for 20 years in a Mars environment. That is how you control the body, metabolism and all those aspects. The space medicine is one of the biggest subjects which is going to come in very rapidly. Many of the universities, 2 or 3 universities, still I have gone and talked about this. They have started space medicine as an elective subject as well as a master's subject, because this is one of the subjects which is going to come because of the making of pharmaceutical medicines and how it looks at the body metabolism. So there is an age-old interdependence between ISRO as a government organization and between academia. So there is a dynamic space market. So why we have to, when we started this all activity, we gained a lot in the 60s and 70s with a big wave from the strong academic process, and rich academic diversity was available across India. India is actually endowed with many people's cultural basic this one. Different people comes with a lot of different thought processes on this one, which really helped in sustaining in a very miserly way of our program. So bringing together the institutions, knowledge and technical know-how really helped in fostering the launch vehicle and spacecraft in different areas, so that they were allowed to work in various fields. There are some RF experts, the NDT experts, radiography experts, the satellite manufacturing, structural engineering, the finite element methods, so many areas of where I don't want to communicate, guidance and navigations. There are masters who came back and did something, so that academia really helped us. So now we have traveled a long way with academia. We have learned a lot, and at the same time, the academic community ability to conduct research and contribute in the areas that need specialization also has improved. Otherwise, Bombay University would not have never felt the urge to make a spacecraft and or a payload and put it in poem, which is a very innovative way. See, this all because of the thought process that has been inculcated in this many years, so that we are confident enough that we can go ahead with such kind of experiment. I'll come to that in a better way. So when all this happens, we understood one problem, that recognize the need to provide the country with high quality manpower, which I was trying to discuss with some various forms. Our education system produces theoreticians capable of reproducing the syllabus, the subject textbooks in a best way. But in the innovation part, or the ability to think as an entrepreneur, what happens to this? Instead of a job seeker, how to create job creators? And this is where the academy has to indulge. So in this aspect only, we also to favor that flavor and to put a good flavor, ISRO started, Department started Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology, where the separate curriculum for space science, the avionics science subject, space research. Accordingly, IST has been guiding and supervising the young scholars of the PhD as well as undergraduates and doctoral program. They work closely with the scientists and engineers we saw in contributing the cutting edge technology. From their project work is actually with our centers, different centers. They come, participate in the ongoing projects, work with specific subjects, try to do, so they get trained when they do the BTech or whatever program they're clearing, they are already onto the job of in a corporate world or whichever place, how to go about a niche technology and do about. So this we thought this develops. Many entrepreneurs has come out. Skyroot is one of the best examples, you know already, launch vehicle is building. Now, the role of synergy of industry and academia. Now, once we started with academia and do this, now how to bring academia and industry to work together. Because even though we claim many success in many places, it has not come to a level of sustaining by itself. Every time it requires some grant, support everywhere. How do you sustain this by its own? So this is where the comes in the problem issues comes, that industry and academia to collaborate and how agency starts looking at it. Only to regulate and look at it, it doesn't go out of hands or in whatever way. How do we do that? So this is where some of the applications has come. So we ask, we try to put in our agency, there are so many opportunities available, government is looking, we also study some market survey and do this kind of, we want this kind of technology to our equipment and instrumentation which is only available in some countries. How do you develop this? A possibility exists. Then interested people may come, then we collaborate who are the industry academia to put so that they can start collaborating with each other. This is one of the aspects which I request this committee organizers to look at these aspects. Now, when we look at this one, our uniqueness of our country is such that our problem is our infotainment itself requires 20 languages, and our geography, economy, expanse, demography, weather is different. We have all the types of lands and diversity. Space application will definitely go in a long way in contributing towards long-term socio-economic development. We can have a spacecraft which can translate the languages itself from one language to another language. Europe has such satellite trying to put it in place, and we can also do that way. And these are some of this one will come. The space, now when you're trying to adapt this, what I'm trying to talk about is, there are some major applications like spectral imaging. For just a fundamental rule, everything works on RF reflectance. What I see is all our RF reflectance. I distinguish you only by the theory of reflectance. The same, that fundamental rule only applies even to the space technology, where it sends waves, and by the characteristics and the transpiration and refraction, we are able to make out what it is, whether water is available, whether it's there, moisture, dry, all those aspects. Now, this is specific products when we try to develop. We have to look at how agency, industry and academia have played a role and whether it is very resulty and effective. I would say even up to the recent past it was no, emphatic no. It is not that much. With this kind of resource available with us, it is not emphatic no. Now what happened, however, with unleashing of the space reforms, because we don't know whether it can be done, because business portion comes into place, everybody becomes afraid. Whether we are flouting the rule or law, whether it's allowed or not, we start going on debating. And once in the government circle, when we start debating, you know where it goes. So it is very difficult to proceed further. So for that, what we brought is the space reforms was unleashed. So we have put in place, recent past, the technology trio. I usually call it the technology trio, like agency, academy, and industry. A new phase of India's Amrit Kaal has actually come, where they will coexist and synergize. And there is a regulation and a framework has been put in place. The establishment of InSpace, Indian National Space Policy, and for promotion is a strong step in the right direction towards leading this nation towards emerging as a strong space economy. I will tell you why it is. So what happens, the InSpace will work with the agency. When I say agency, the government, industry and academia, with some of the objectives like to develop the Indian ecosystem, and it has to do whatever it requires to accelerate. They have been given that mandate. Enable and nurture the NGEs, that is the non-government entities, to accomplish their ventures in space sector, because it's very costly, because you cannot put your seed money or anything to start with. Then how to authorize space operations and services in the country through a well-defined framework, because all the infrastructure is outside your boundary, and you want to control that and then put it in place. It's not that easy. That's why when I was lab authorization, launch authorization board member, and I say, what I am authorizing is to send an object outside our country. So that is not easy. There's a responsibility whether anything happens, any other country suffers, there's a huge liability to pay. So this is one of the issues which we discuss rather with all the people. And how do we help startups? How do you do this when they want to do it? Because there is a huge economy available there. That I will give you a sample space there. So InSpace, now when you do this, we have to supervise the space activities of the NGOs in the country also. We have to take care spacefully. So InSpace has the overall mandate to regulate the Indian space sector and enable the private sector industries to participate. And by this, we have to boost the space economy. So many entrepreneurs, so many jobs, economy grows up. There is a huge possibility exists here. So what is envisaged in a real mind, which is opportunity which I for you all people today is, we are trying to envisage and develop and position India as a global manufacturing and export hub for the launch vehicles, spacecraft and applications and other high-tech space system. That is, we want in space to be one of the powerful manufacturing hub, and that should be the objective within 20 years. It is not an easy process, and it is not going to come immediately, but we have to go towards that step by step. So we should have a roadmap. Every country has now started having a roadmap. How to mine the moon, how to go about the moon and Mars, where to put the space station. They are all booking the slots. And please understand, the traffic in space in 400 kilometers, 500 kilometers is much worse than Bombay traffic. All objects, millions and millions of objects, ranging from 1 centimeter to 10 centimeters, 100 centimeters, is flying at 8 kilometers per second. And in this slot, you have to put a spacecraft in place. Okay, so we should have a space situational awareness program. You would have heard of, how many people would have heard of it, I don't know. I work on that. You have to aware what is space is going through, there is a space situational awareness, all the objects. That's why launches will be in odd time, 6:01, 6:02, because any other time it doesn't go, it can collide with a nearer object when you want to put the spacecraft in place. So these kind of things when you put, we look at this approach and we have worked out end-to-end manufacturing clusters for space system, products and components. This is what the mandate of InSpace and HSC. So at the same time, we are also working on the transfer of technology that we have developed from the government side in ISRO or DOS, and how do you, NGEs can make use of these technologies and make the components so they don't have to redo all this or reinvent all those things once again. So this also, because transfer technology, we don't have a framework now. So now we have put a framework how to do it. Then what we did, when every people start working their own way, it's not easy. Then there is a different standard. Space industry, the standard is very difficult to put. So a catalog of Indian standards for space industry was released in September 2023. Actually, it was compiled by InSpace and Bureau of Indian Standards along with Indian standards based on the practice being followed and approved by ISRO and in line with international standards. What happens is, once you put that as a framework, every industry startup has to look at the standards and try to sustain. Like I have my ISO certified person like this, We have to have a purpose, because then only he can be qualified to be evaluated by any place in the world, and he gives a platform. So this standard was pushed. So by establishing a unified framework or the guidelines and benchmarks, the catalog envisages to ensure a consistency in the operation. That's the most important approach. And align India's space activity with the global best practices. This is very important, otherwise nobody will look at it. So this, I believe, will go a long way in adding various stakeholders. The technology trio in particular in decision making. That's the most important, because the decision making is not easy. So if you put a framework, the decision making becomes important and actually offers a level playing ground. Now, looking at this aspect, many cases, initiatives have been taken to promote. So we are telling, okay, all these things are known, how do you do? So a standing committee of interministerial coordination has been established, because everybody has to be taken into confidence for clearing some of the activities. And all the interdepartmental coordination with the Department of Space and the host of department has been already put in place. Now there are other things like utilization of unused ITU is the international. When the spacecraft has to park in one particular place, you have to file it in the International Trade Union. That is, I want to book this slot, and I will use this slot within this time period. If it's not so, it elapses, and again you go back in the queue. So these are some of the coordination which we have to do, and see that people are using it and well within the time. This also is very important. Otherwise, this will come. Another aspect is the standard operating procedure. Industry, chemical industry, and many others will have this standard. But how do you try to inculcate the standard operating procedure in space industry, which is very, very difficult to put it with. So here is where we are put in place, and we give a lot of training to many of these ones, so that it has become successfully demonstrated. And actually, to the delight of the industry, they have agreed for all these aspects, because they are looking for this to sustain this. So we are also doing ensuring a price support policy for the non-governmental entities and startup academy. When it comes to use, they don't have all the facilities, so they may have to use some facilities. InSpace is actually trying to put some facilities in different places to make use of these facilities for doing it, with some subsidized cost of this. We call it not subsidized, we call it as support pricing. That is, how good you are, when you are valued, you can make use of the facility, coming there and use it, so that you are not hampered by availability of some niche facilities. So we also have a support price positive for assessing the ISRO facility that we are already providing, and for some of the data and data products like weather. We have one of the best weather products in the world for more than 50 years, like wind profiler and all those aspects, everything, which now we are giving it to IMD to do this. So as we aspire to be, as we are already one of the leading pioneering nations in the space, at the same time, global recognition is there for our frugal engineering, because we do it in a less than $2 billion of our economy in the year on year, and the ability to look at some of the innovations and put. India accounts only for 2% of the space economy. And Department of Space now actually, Space has worked out a strategy on a long-term plan to increase the size of space economy from present $8.4 billion to a targeted $44 billion by 2033. That is our goal. It's a step-by-step program, because suddenly I can't say 2 to 50%. So 2 to 8%, 4 to 8%. That's how to sustain. So that's where the space reform comes. So in order to ask other initiatives, some sustaining the space economy by way of helping NGE, startups have been taken up. Seed funding money is already there for startups, and opportunity to host payloads for the NGE's onboard PSLV orbital platform, POEM, and that's where the Somaya University had that opportunity to put one of their payloads in the POEM. Because just imagine, to show that your payload can work from space, you cannot make a satellite for 100 crores, then buy a launch vehicle for another 200 crores, and put and to show one technology. So we innovated how to provide. So our last stage, PSLV 4 stage, we worked out. I also was involved in the solar panel realization on the stage. We provided a platform for 2 to 3 months, sustaining it so that you can put your payload and try out your experiment. And after 3 months over, we bring back the PS4 back to the atmosphere and burn it off, so that you would have read in the paper, PSLV is the first one to have a zero debris launch vehicle. We never allowed any of the stages to be in the space. We removed it, everything from the space so that it is sustainable. This is one of the responsible nation as part of sustainability in space, that we don't make debris there and do it. By this, what happens? Some of the universities had an opportunity to experiment their payload with a very cost-effective solution. So many people will come forward. Now, out of 100, if 2, 3 succeed, there is a huge industry, economy starts up, employment comes up. So it has a social development, economic development, economy also comes up. We are living with our own homegrown technology. This is one of the aspects which we are looking at, and we have worked out the framework for this. So now, as we are involving successful industry for making the components and the items for us, we call it as build to print. Slowly they have been asked to develop the system by themselves. Godrej and L&T in Mumbai and all those aspects is one of the leading providers in making cryo stages and the engines. It is well known. Now what we are asking is design to print. Design to fabricate, not print. Design to print. That means we will say this is a requirement, whether we can make it or not. We are asking many other industries to come forward and do this, so that, because the scale of economy only doing within ISRO is going to be very difficult. We will work only on strategic area and some of the important area, and commercial aspect and other aspect, and all those industry has to come forward and take lead and take the responsibility. And I think time has come for those. That's why all this space work and in space is put in place. So today the time is right for the industry to provide the end-to-end solutions. In this area, instead of simply taking orders and making as per this, and looking only government, okay, government will put the order on us. This is not sustainable. It has to evolve. Many industries have become very successful. All those people is only by industries taking up these initiatives, and we enable that process. So when we frame this aspect, lot has been done in the direction, and the government infrastructure in SGC SHAR and the MCF and even at the ISR tracking stations, many industries have done end-to-end solutions. And slowly now, industry is also contributing in a big way to all the SSLV, PSLV, LUM-3 vehicles, and spacecraft range and communication, navigation data, and other interplanetary missions. There are people systems. Now we have seen private industry in USA itself is trying to go to moon and do all those things. I think the stages, we cannot go back. We cannot lag behind. We have to start looking at our aspect is, because the pioneering work all starts with that kind of initiative. But we have to provide a framework and enabling system in place, and that's what we are trying to do here. And another important aspect is the international cooperation. Already we know it's a very costly. One failure itself sets back the clock. I just want to tell you a small story here. Not a story. You have to understand this. Any launch vehicle and spacecraft program, it involves almost from drawing board once you finalize. That itself takes a lot of time, or more than 1 year. From there to make one spacecraft and a launch vehicle takes 18 months. That 18 months involves 20,000 employees of ISRO, more than 50 to 70,000 employees in industries, some huge amount of money, labor, and finally all this comes. Solid motors are made at SGC SHAR itself, so maybe we can escape. All this starts coming with some checks. Then we start checking all the stage at SGC SHAR. Then the value addition starts in the last 60 days of that 18 months in the exponential way. Once we start assembling the stages, it becomes a very costly affair. Once it becomes, we can't afford to make a single mistake. One silly mistake. Rocket science is nothing but thousands of simple things done in the most synchronized way of millisecond durations. That's all, nothing else. Everything is simple. Engineering, there is only formulas and other things. There's nothing to worry about. But thousands of things has to happen in a synchronized way in milliseconds precisions. And it has to happen. There's no question of not happening. So when that happens, if something happens, what is the most disheartening is the effort put by this many people, that is actually set back the clock. And the clock is set back by more than 2 years. 18 months plus failure analysis committee, all those things. We have to understand this. So it becomes from 2 years, minimum 2 years or 200. So what happens? We can get the money back. Government may fund, industry may be able to help it. But the labor and the time lost is lost. And this is where some prudence is required. That's why lot of regulations comes into place. So we have a lot of international collaboration so that we start learning people's mistakes, people's success story, and we have engaging more than 60 countries. We have more than 250 agreements as a government, as part representing government, we are given with many countries to sustain, like SysStab, ASEAN, and also with now extra observation, all these things coming. Now, the trends in satellite technology to do the sustainable is high throughput satellite. You create big data. Then the climatic, autonomy and fault tolerance space system. By itself, it has to stay there for 15 years. And we have to relive that space system. How to relive the space system? Like our old vehicle, somehow we maintain it after 15 years, you have to re-register. That's only a document work. But the engine is periodically maintained. Now, how do you maintain a spacecraft? What kind of system you have to bring in? Can we say that human has to go, or robotics has to do and dock and refuel it? Fuel is the one important. So, how to refuel? So, we know we have technologies to refuel the aircraft. How to now refuel the spacecraft? You have to catch a spacecraft which is going at 9 kilometers per second. So, generation application of big data. Some of the commercial off-the-shelf technology of avionics item, electronics item, how to use it in space. It's very difficult to use it in space. How do you position? Then all of them wants to know where I am. So the position and navigation and timing system, that is within improve your accuracy. As you go now, every alley, every road you should know with a 3D view, 360-degree view, what not, how to get the data. So then we have the data elevation models, because spacecraft actually gives lot of data, like how this work here. You know, there is a technology by which I can get a feel how many people are there in this room by spacecraft. If I want an international job, I have a construction or something, work is going on, and I said work is going on, I am sitting somewhere, say take for example California, and my office is at Bangalore or IT company and work. How many people are working in this office? It will take out the energy position, the raw reflectance, that mobile connectivity, the radar connected, the waves generated, all those put together, there is a way to calculate, okay, up to this many people are there. Okay, that means that many people are there in the place. I don't have to send a person to check all these things. Another one is, sorry if I take another, oh my goodness. So, another two, this one is, if a farmer is applying for a loan, he goes there, older rule is, I have the land, he has to send somebody, check that land whether it is cultivatable, it has been done, all those data, he writes some reports, how much he produced, he would ask for a 5 lakhs loan, he comes back, it all takes some 30 to 45 days, then he is discretion of the bank manager to decide whether his property is worth or not. This can be done within 2 hours. That is, there are entrepreneurs who are really take all the satellite data. This data is put in the Tahsildar's office on this one, and he has 5 years of data. Each data corresponds to the date whether it is cultivated or not, and based on the reflectance and that's when we know what kind of yield he has got in that from that land. So what kind of revenue he would have generated is known. So that is sustainable. Whether the land has changed its name or not, based on the revenue development, because that location is already pinpointed, the wiki maps, all those, you all do this. You are actually helping the data man who is application to know each place which is that. Actually, he is making use of that data. So using that data, he gives a report because it is his business. So he has to be very accurate. Bank relies on that the risk factor is put in place, and end of the day, he can decide to give loan or not. Now what happens? Bank starts earning interest, the farmer starts working on his work immediately, the time saved is 2 months. Just look at what we can do with this kind of technology. I'm just giving a glimpse of. And then every Delhi, every Mumbai transport vehicle, I can put a Navic system, whether vehicle went in proper way or not, how much time it takes, which place he has driven. You know, in USA, there is a insurance company charges your insurance based on your way in which you drove the vehicle and how much distance you drove the vehicle, which are areas of. If you are a traffic-less vehicle, we are usually commuting, your insurance is low. If you are accelerating and braking too many times, on average, your insurance will go up. This is possible. So you imagine I'm just giving you a glimpses of the business models that is all possible. You don't have to be an engineer or to work on satellite and say, nobody makes money using satellite and launch vehicle. The person who is making use of the data only makes the money. So it is well proven methods. So there are this one. So and advent of quantum technology, which actually makes your data secure. So conclude. Now I really, the immediate thrust areas is the climatic and disaster forecast, high-tech cartography, that's what I told, for planning smart cities. Now we want cities to be put. Everybody wants to live in cities. So how do you develop a smart city? Just like they can't put, where should be an entertainment park, where should be the lungs area of the city. You have to calculate all those aspects. The effective natural resource management. How to, there is a forecast with a satellite throughout Indian coastal area and places where the wind pattern is very good, so that we can put windmill and generate energy. Where the tides are consistent, we can use the tide to develop energy, to produce energy. These are all some new things to make it greener energies that has to come in place. So this we are doing it. Then on-demand access to space. Whenever I want, within some good period, I have to be able to go to space and come back. Either human or spacecraft or this one. Then multi-band high resolution things. So in conclusion and part, I am happy to be part of such an event of Conclave. Together we can achieve more. The roadmap, future trends and requirement in space arena has been, I hope I have given in front of you, whatever I know, because I don't want to make a mistake in these kind of things. There is a vast scope still in the agency and industry and academia to work together and complement their core competence. Because how to develop human resources is with academia, and how to utilize this with industry, and how to regulate this with only the agency. And that's how we have to look at this. So this will lead to the technology advance and quite simply indicate economic prudence too. We need not to spend too much money. Everybody needs to spend the same areas, everybody needs to spend money. And this also is one of the important aspects. So let us look beyond the imaginary boundaries and come together and contribute towards the Indian space economy and taking it to new heights. In the business that I am involved, or rather say in the field I am involved in the last 30-40 years, the sky quite literally is not the limit. Okay? I hope you agree with that. It's not the limit. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, sir, for your insightful talk. Does anybody have any question for him? Okay. So,
hello. Thank you very much for the wonderful presentation and covering wide topic. It was very interesting. We came to know a lot of things in a short time. My question is, today morning our industrialist Sridhar Vembu was indicating that many localized industries are shutting off. This question is slightly off topic, but because of your experience, probably you'll be able to give some guidance. That is why I'm asking you. So he was quoting the example of the fireworks industry in Sivagashi, which is having a lot of issues. So how the R&D can help in such a situation? What should be the roadmap to make this happen? For example, MSMEs doesn't know whom to contact. Even the scientific community may not know where to contact. But there are so many labs. There are about 44 labs under CSAR, and there are other research institutions. Is there any way how to approach? That's the question. Thank you. Sorry if it is off the topic.
okay.
I can understand it.
Yes.
Because it's also a very sensitive subject. First is the labor, cost of labor. That is where the whole problem starts, right? This we have seen from biggest industries to smallest industries. In India, unless you put a regulatory framework for labor, all government departments follows this. There is no other choice, and we do that. Since this is one of the prime factors which comes into this one. You look at, why Shivagashi fireworks? You look at the mills in Tirupur, or you look at the Bombay mills. I know the composite industry where I work is the most pollution and glass fiber industries. In Bombay, in the main heart of the city, how much pollution is getting created, the framework was put in place, they have to sustain that. Then the only way is to put a framework. Once you put a framework, it shouldn't become a bottleneck. The framework it should be in such a way that it should enable. That's what I talked I didn't skip because it's a very big subject on that. When you are trying to create a framework, you have to debate for at least for 1 or 2 years. I won't say years, thoroughly. The framework, because our problem in India is it becomes a rule. Then for that rule you have to apply all those things. Then it becomes everybody will try to sidestep natural. But what I would like to do, the framework should be an enabler. Okay, you can use this. I can provide for, there should be a framework which says I will provide for this. See, earlier, I can only relate with what I do. Long back, if Somaya University wanted that payload to put in a place, we would have debated for months to them, how to do it, whether to charge or not to charge, on what basis you have to do, whether they are a university, whether they are getting profit out of this or not. How do we check, whether we have to check or not. So these are the aspects. So now, a framework is put, this is for enabling. Because by themselves cannot do. There is a reason it's put in place. And this has been well debated and put in a framework and accepted. Then it becomes easier to say. Now nobody will say it is part of the business. Why you are cutting the cost? You are incurring this much expenditure. Why you are not passed on the expenditure? All this actually is part of enabling this kind. Here what we have to see is, according to what I can understand, is there is a job. So in order to provide for jobs, we have to enable how to provide for jobs in a framework. So that framework is still not agreed to. That I can know very well. Everybody knows this. So this where we have to educate and make it aware. Somewhere we have to bear some of the cost and then proceed for. Once this becomes sustainable, they have to give it back. Like in incubation centers and all this what our person discussed. We are giving some part of the money once it becomes profitable and you make them exist. Same way, we will try to provide. Once you succeed and profit, we have to pay for it. This is one of the way which we worked out in this place. I think, look at that.
Mr. Ramaswamy snatched my question, Narayanan, but I still have a question. What are for this entire Bharat Tech Foundation is for Alliance of the Engineers. What would be the learning or what are 3 things that you think an engineer should do to follow from your model? Me as an engineer, what learnings do I adapt and how do I move in this space? No, not the space that you're talking about. How do I move? What learnings do you have for the engineers that are there around us?
Are we talking about the workforce, human resources, or
as an engineer? As an engineer.
As an entrepreneur?
As an engineer, entrepreneur, whatever, yeah.
So this is where the academic institutions, if you look at it, I will rather climb on learning by experience and learning by work. Many universities have adapted this. Even morning, I was actually talking to include some of these classes that he is trying to put in Tengashi in this one. Actually, I want to put it in our tribal land. And many industrial parks are doing this without declaring. Because, leave alone engineering. When we try to look at some of the people who cannot educate, they cannot continue their education, we have to skill them. Now, one of the important aspects of the skilling is, in Free City, when I have seen some of the our Cadbury's, what is that? Nestle, not Nestle, Cadbury's, the biggest production of Cadbury's 5-star chocolate of the whole world, the major production is in Free City. Because we are without knowing, nobody knows we are the biggest consumers also. Because we are somehow addicted to their taste now. Now, they are taking from rural, the woman empowerment, catching them at young age, giving specific training, what Tamil Nadu also is trying to do in skilling the people. This is called skilling the people at the correct age, what their interest is, and accordingly give them the scope to educate. Now, here, you have to bring in an institution Recently in Pondicherry, Aravindo, they are doing this education, where their certificate is valid in worldwide university and also Indian university. They don't have any exam oriented this one, but it is accepted and agreed. Where they are very young age, they have started working on CNC machinings, programming, the niche areas, which is what industry is looking for. They cannot go and train people and put in place and do something. He is already doing for last 6 years. And as part of that, he is earning a degree, whether the diploma or ITI or engineering. And he is there already ready to write the entrance exam. Now what happens is, he or she, when that kind of engineering, with that kind of work on field, can develop and ready to be employed. Ready to be employed is the one aspect which is missing in our Indian curriculum. To be sorry to say, it is true. Really, see, when I had 20 practicals. I think you all would have done with the 50, those who are doing BTech, all those things. More than, today it has come down. They are not willing to put in that place. Their teaching is, private medical college also is, all doctors are theoreticians. But practical means you have to really put in place. So, when I have problem, I am going to government medical college, trained doctor or whatever is there in the college, because he is seeing 1,000 patients. So, I am just giving, sorry, I don't have a ready-made answer, that's why I am asking this. Where we are lacking pulse is the skilling, the people, the engineers, they are academically brilliant. We have to ask question, what else you know? Do you know plumbing? I am asking, this is the question I ask him when I recruit. I am going to IIT also, and every place. I'll ask, tell me the hobbies. He gives them. No, I want the day-to-day, your life-supporting hobbies. You tell me your life-supporting hobbies. Let it be even badminton. I don't mind, you play. Then I look for plumbing, electrical, all state government rural LSG, that is local self-government support systems, whether he is aware of this. So in this plumbing and electrical, and then I asked, do you know cooking? Cooking. These are the three, one which are important stress busters. What I have seen in my, this one is, nowadays, children, you can tell this, Siddharth knows this, in Trivandrum also I told this, in Cochin also I told this, and I am repeating this. At very young age, our children are becoming diabetic, 30, because of they are skipping the breakfast. Up to 18, they have been given one of the best quality in the world, getting food in right time, at right time, and 4 times a day, 365 days a year, for 18 years, they never missed it. Once they are on their own, they have to reach office, otherwise the manager and the supervisor will take him to task. 8 o'clock he has to be there. They skip breakfast. And 6 years they can sustain. After that, diabetic starts. Because insulin, this is a basic, you should not miss the breakfast. So I used to tell everybody whether you have taken breakfast, I send them back, take breakfast, and then they can be there up to night. I have no issue. So what happens, one of the important aspect is, and the skilling. If you know this kind of skill set for an engineer, he tries to apply the learning curve that he has got into his mind to the job on the place. Then he becomes a good engineer. So every time I ask, do you know how to fix your piece wire? I ask them, all the people, whenever a technician and engineer, first task I give them is, go to housing colony, how are you going to repair this? You tell me how are you going to repair. You don't have to do this. You tell. This is actually a thought of learning process of how to live your life. Once that confidence has come into his mind, in his or her mind, they become a well-developed engineer for the actual job, which is actually nothing. It's easy to handle because there are so many procedures already put in place. This is my work, and it has helped me a lot. Because I work on plumbing, I like anything, and it has helped me a lot. And cooking has actually helped me a lot in all my foreign tours because I am a vegetarian. So I have to live. So I ask for people to develop 3 dishes always and be there. And that's what gives you confidence. And you know very well, after this age, these are the stress busters. It actually helps you to reduce your stress. So these are the things which I ask. Don't get stressed. by doing, you do some hobby, and I will give you in corporate, whichever area you like, that as a career progression, as over and above the work that you are going to do in this place, this hobby. So some people are very good in taking care of repairing all those things. So I give him the job. So he gets a satisfaction that I am contributing. Once that sense of feeling comes, we can mold him to the better way. This is my view.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. In fact, in your speech, you stressed upon the importance of skilling and creating sustainable environment for the industry and academia to work together. These are some of the highlights. You talked about creating sustainable, space. In fact, your speech was centered around the theme of sustainability, and you also made us aware how exploring space could be the ultimate adventure for all of us. I mean, you once mentioned that sky is the limit. I mean, with your efforts, you try to, with our efforts in the field of science and technology, we can go beyond and try to explore more and see the greater opportunities. So with this, may I request our principal, sir, Dr. Suresh Ukrandi, sir, to please come on the dais to felicitate sir with the memento.
Thank you. Thank you for bearing with me.
Thank you, sir. May I take a few moments and make this formal announcement here. We are going to have a cultural program immediately after this particular session. I request all of you to please stay back in the auditorium. We are about to begin this program. So we will start this program in a few minutes.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
So let me just hand over this to our student who will take care of the cultural program, okay?
Thank you so much,
Thank
sir.
you.
Okay. अभी टाइम है